Hi guys, this is Cosador Jonathan here. A few weeks ago I showed you guys how to make Plasticine substitute, and I was asked why I made such a small amount, and why I don't make more. So this is how to or how not to make Plasticine substitute in bulk. Now, I'm not going to lie, I made a really big mess doing this one, and I'm pretty sure I broke my bench mixer. I've never attempted this scale because this stuff can be hard to mix. But I needed more Plasticine substitute, so I figured why not try it out. So let's get started. Okay, because I know this is going to be harder, I'm going to use some household appliances. I'm going to use a bench mixer, a stick blender, a coffee grinder, a heat gun which could be substituted for a hairdryer, a stove, and keep in mind that afterwards some of these things might not be good for food anymore. And for the recipe, I'm going to need petroleum jelly, soap bar particulate, hydrated lime, and some oil-based paint for colour. And on to the preparation. I'm going to need some soap bar particulate. I get some soap and cut it up into small pieces. I used a coffee grinder and put a little in at a time. If the particulate comes through too big, I cycle it through until I get a fine particulate. I weigh out 84 grams and I set it aside. I put the Pyrex jug on the stove. I put in the petroleum jelly. I melt it down to measure, assisting it from above with a heat gun on a low setting. Once I have approximately 278 ml, I add the soap bar particulate and measure out 5 ml of paint and add that too. I mix it with a stick blender until the wet soap mixture is smooth and uniform. I put it aside and keep it warm. And lastly, I measure out approximately 695 grams of hydrated lime. Now it's time to do some mixing. I put the wet soap mixture into the bench mixer. And I only add as much hydrated lime as what mixes in. I start to mix it. I keep it warm with a heat gun. And I monitor the consistency. I want to get to a point where it's hard but moldable. I take it out and work it with my hands to see if it's correct. At this point it seems to be good. I've not used all of the hydrated lime, and the mix has only ended up being 800 grams. But I think that's as good as it's going to get. Now I must store this, and some small squares would be nice. I'm using a couple of pieces of 15mm by 15mm timber, and an old wine bottle as a rolling pin. I put the Plasticine substitute in between the timber and I roll the wine bottle across the top. Then I cut them into squares with the knife and I bag them. And that's it, it's done. Look, this is not an ideal way to do things. I do have Plasticine substitute, but the mix isn't accurate. It could be that there are differences in my ingredients, but there's a huge chance that this isn't working due to method. I must heat the petroleum jelly more, which heats the soap more, and the force required to stir a large amount is enormous. Not only that, there's a huge chance I could waste a heap of ingredients. It's far better that I make 100 grams at a time and make that 10 times. With that, I can evaluate the ingredients. If it's too dry, I add more wet soap mix. If the Plasticine substitute cracks when I bend it, it needs more soap bar particulate in the wet soap mixture. And if it's too wet, it needs more hydrated lime. If you got this far, thanks for watching. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe, it really means a lot to me. And if you would like me to make something else, please drop a comment. And remember guys, break it till you make it, and I'll see you next time.